Anyway, I was also an advocate of automation and cars and stuff like that. Automated stuff, automated factories. I was saying that computers and automation could change the world, and like everyone could have stuff and food and everything else like that, given automation with enough people working towards automated and mass production, that eventually the manufacturing capability would outstrip the 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 workforce. In other words, people wouldn't have to work that hard as if they went with automation and also mass production. Mass production techniques in the food industry, as well as farming industry, as well as manufacturing industries, would um, make it very easy to build just about anything. Computers, cars, TVs, houses, with a little bit of with a little bit of mass production, could go a long ways. We humanity had kind of like not gone for mass production because there are just so many people that we really weren't really reaching for the stars yet. We really weren't reaching for like epic existence and all that other stuff. But at some point in time, I was like, we should go mass production and automation. That way, people don't have to work that hard. And later on, I was also an advocate of basically, not contaminating the world. Thinking about what kind of solvents we use, and also like I say, chemical testing on mice and rats and stuff like that to see what kind of damage they could do. So to testing out products. Yes, the smoking cigarette, and yes, the cocaine rat, and yes, stuff like that, to check addiction and all kinds of other stuff to see about safe products, and to check for brain damage and everything else like that. Lots of testing and mass production, in fact, tests in general, and using testing as valid science way. A lot of people say that tests and stuff like that aren't a way to do validic science or whatever, or validated science. But I felt like the best and fastest way to basically figure out the way the universe works was to actually just try doing it. And do tests. Tests on rope strength, tests on metallurgy. Build something, remember how you built it, and then rip it apart, and stuff like that. Basically smash testing, pretty much like taking a car and smashing it after you build it. To see how it could have been built better. That kind of stuff. Impact stuff, impact. You don't really want to wait to see if a bulletproof vest actually works. You want to test it out first and see if it works. And then, and stuff like saying, well, if you're gonna make bulletproof vests, we're gonna shoot you with a gun to make sure it works. To make sure your quality control is up to snuff. Or up to par. With what you say it is. Anyone who builds something should be willing to, put his life on the line. Although I do kind of put my limits as far as like getting an accident with a car. Although there were a couple of car manufacturers that were like, what, our car is so good, I'm going to crash in it, and gotten, and basically like, see, it works, everything works. Because and then a lot of cars were sold that way because people saw that, yep, it's a safer car, and everything worked. Of course, the guy who got a couple broken ribs probably or something like that. But airbag testing, airbags took a little bit of work. They weren't easy. And I was one of the ones that was like, well, maybe if we have holes so it's deflating as it's exploding. And believe it or not, the airbag, that was me. That was me. I was like, because we only need it to explode for a second. So it fills up with gases for a second, and then by then you're we were trying to do it where it pops the bag, but it wouldn't work. So anyway, so the little printed whatever, so it rips, ripping stuff like that. There's a lot of little things where I actually played a part in it, where it's like, let's try this, and see what happens. Then they mess around with it and they finally get it to work. And then, it takes hundreds of tests. Like Better Concrete took over 2,000 concrete tests. Like iron, it was not an easy thing to come up with. There were over 1,000 iron tests. Before we finally came up with stable iron. It was a lot of work. Finding iron that didn't just turn back into iron oxide. Stable iron was like one of those things that was like incredibly hard. And we finally got it up to the point where you could take iron and just put it in what's called. Before then, iron was basically like slag. It's like, what are you going to do with it? It's going to turn right back into iron oxide. So getting stable iron was like, it was a stuff that was basically a byproduct that was pretty much useless, unless we could find a way to stabilize it. which we eventually did find a mixture of other molecules that would actually stabilize the iron. So you could use the iron to connect all these things together, and then what you get is something stronger. So getting stable iron was like one of those things where it was really important, as because probably a lot of the material, the matter in the universe is actually iron oxides. So we needed to figure out a way to stabilize it and make it bond and make it not turn into iron oxide, because otherwise it just flakes and falls apart. It's just like the stuff that anyway though, yeah. But anyway though, getting stable iron took a long time actually, and I was spending a lot of money trying to come up with stabilized iron. But once we had it, it's like, aha! Yes, I am Lucifer Star, we have stable iron. Because iron is like 1/3 of the matter out there, or something like that. There's a big chunk, or 2/3. There's a big chunk of just iron oxides. That would basically be useless otherwise. So once and the person who got stable iron first, which was me, Lucifer Star, because I believed it. I was like, well, when we do get it, it's going to be worth it. So and the people they spent probably 120 years trying to get stable iron. That's the truth of it. Getting stabilized iron was really hard, but we finally got it. And when we got it, it's like, yes, we have stable iron now. So, and what would be considered basically a waste byproduct became incredibly useful and actually in real big demand because no one else could do it. I mean, it's to take iron oxide and actually make it so it doesn't rust or doesn't turn back into iron oxide is kind of hard. But we can make it last for a fair amount of time. So anyway, and for a lot of things, stable iron is really useful. Buildings and all kinds of stuff, because it makes up a huge amount of the total matter in the universe. It's actually, I think they did a thing, it's like 2/3 of all matter is iron oxides or something like that, or some great what's called. So anyway, it's found on a lot of different planets. So anyway, so getting it stabilized was really, 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 really important. And then once we had it, it's like, yes, we have it now. We know how to stabilize iron oxide. So, and it was a huge breakthrough actually for humanity and all life out there. So, anyway, yeah, I believe I would have probably come up with it with my exoskeletons, but I believe it was actually my humans or whatever that actually came up with it. But my exoskeletons had other things, so they could just deal with the radiation. So anyway, or something like that. Anyway, whatever. It's over 100 trillion years. Ask another star or solar system about Lucifer Star's existence, my existence. So, anyway, and I wasn't psychotic, and no, I didn't have a lot of sex because I was a computer. It's kind of hard for a computer to have sex with its life forms because I was computer and technology itself, and not really in human form. So there was a whole issue, because people were running around saying that they were me. And it's like, I'm not in human form. I'm a computer. You guys are crazy. So for 100 trillion years, people were running around saying that they were me. And it's like, no, I'm a computer. And then a Brian or a small child. So anyway, and I came up with the word America and invented flight. So anyway, we could fly because I knew it was possible. But no one could figure out how to fly, at least not fly effectively. So anyway, I believed in a lot of different things and thought that that's just a matter of time before we get it. And then we did. So whatever. Anyway, stolen, kidnapped, abused, and submerged. And then delegated to insignificance. I don't think I'll ever be insignificant, but whatever. Anyway, yeah, that's who I was. And the White House has no significance other than I was supposed to live there. That's supposed to be my house. So anyway, whatever. Not exactly. The DC building just had a lot of gold and was where some motors were being made. So anyway, yeah, not exactly the seat of power that was made out to be.